Hi there YouTube, welcome to another army overview, and today we're doing my third SAGA army. These guys are the Irish, and again I started off with a 4-point starter set and built them up to 10 points, and they've got a few like swap out options as well. So we'll start with the warlord, as I always do. So here we go, and this is the Irish warlord, and he came in the starter box set, the 4-point starter box set from Grip and Beast. And again, he's kind of a pretty generic sort of warlord figure. He's in almost the same sort of pose as my Anglo Saxon warlord, but he's not wearing any footwear, and he's supposed to represent a sort of clan chieftain. The Irish are, again, they fight totally different from both the Vikings and the Anglo Saxons. They're kind of a They like springing ambushes from rough ground, and they can cover ground quite well. And they're practically all armed with javelins, so they've got like a ranged attack as well as sort of a close combat attack. So, like I say, this is the warlord, and he came out really cool. Got a nice red cape. The Irish are, unlike most other clans, are really quite light on armour and equipment. So, you know, the warlord having chainmail and helm really does show that he's, high up the rankings of importance. And I think as you go through my army, you'll find that there's very, very few pieces of armour and even helmets within the entire army. With only the Hearth guard really having any. So kind of a simplistic shield design again. So that is the Irish warlord. Next up we'll go for Hearth guard. For my Irish, the Irish they have a special character that you can use. They basically count as Hearth guard. So you buy. They're called Curaid, and you can basically have them either on foot or mounted. And I've actually got the options for both. So these are basically the Curaid, and these are supposed to be the warlord's personal elite bodyguard, even more so than Hearthguard. And you basically pay a single point, the same as you would. You're basically buying a point of Hearthguard, but you are basically getting 2 miniatures in place of them. And you can see that these guys came out pretty cool. Got this nice sort of can't really see it. Well, this guy's got more of just a sort of a cross pattern on his outfit, but he's got his javelin, he's got his sword, he's got a nice pelt cloak. And he's got a nice sort of design at the bottom there. The Irish were quite time consuming to paint because obviously you have all these intricate patterns and tartans and stuff like that. It was definitely a learning process to try and get tartans to look pretty good. But I think in the end they came out certainly very presentable. Here we have the second guy holding a javelin. He's got his sword, and you can see he's got sort of a red and yellow and green tartan going on along the bottom of his undershirt, underneath his chainmail. May not be perfect, but it certainly looks quite cool from a distance. So that is the foot Curaid, and here we have the mounted Curaid, and these guys again they don't cost any extra. You basically you buy your 4 points of Hearthguard, and these guys are what you get for that point. So here we have and these sort of cavalry figures were the first horses that I actually painted in probably 25 years, way back in my sort of mid-teens. And I spent a lot of time looking at videos and trying to sort of relearn how to paint a horse. Horses are very hard to paint, and I think they came out really well. I was really quite proud of how these guys came out, and I can't say that I'm a fan of painting cavalry, but I was very happy with how the horses turned out, and of course how the chaps turned out mounted on them too. So you can see this guy has got his he's got a sword in his back. He's got his javelin. He's got his shield. He's got no other types of armour, and he's ready to ride the battlefield. The rules, of course, are that with the mounted, if you have mounted Curaid, then you must have a mounted warlord. And I actually forgot to show you, but I have actually got a mounted warlord too. So I'll show you the rest of the Curaid, and then I'll show you the mounted warlord. So here's the second mounted Curaid. This guy has a cast shield, and he's kind of got his javelin in his hand there. And again, I really love the way this horse turned out. It's got kind of like a red sash. It's got a nice cross pattern on his undershirt. Pretty cool. So that is the mounted Curaid, and here is the mounted warlord. Yeah, pretty cool. Not the warlord that I wanted. I think you can get like 3 different versions of warlord, and they're normally differentiated by letter. And when I actually ordered this particular figure, I actually wanted a different warlord, but they ended up sending me this one, so I couldn't be bothered to send it back, so I kind of just went with it. I can't say that he's my favourite of the 3 that are available, but he is a pretty good figure all the same. You can see that he's got his helm and his chainmail and a nice furred cape, and I put him on a sort of a nice chestnut brown kind of horse, with a nice shiny black mane. And of course he's got the gold accents on his helmet to show his status as a clan chief or head of a clan or tribe. So that is the mounted warlord and his mounted Curaid. Let's just put those together to give you a sort of an idea of what they look like together. There we go. And they've got matching shield designs to show that they're part of his personal retinue. Okay, so that's the mounted warlord and all of the Curaid done. Like I say, they're kind of swap outs, so you know, I can either have them mounted or I can have them on foot. And I can also have 2 of them as an extra point in my army if I want to do as well, instead of swapping them out using the Hearth Guard that I've got. Hearth Guard wise, in this particular unit, I've got 3 units of Hearth Guard, one of which has the option of using these double-handed Dane axes here. Now these guys are not gripping beasts, they're done by another company, and I have I believe they're the same company that did my warrior monk from my Anglo Saxons, and I still have not remembered the name of the company. It could possibly be Black Tree, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's show you these guys. These guys came out really cool. They've got a lot of sort of tartan and patterns on their clothing. So here we have this guy. He looks like a complete scuzzball. He's got this hulking great axe. He's got this sort of cross pattern on his upper shirt, and this sort of stripy pattern on his trousers. And he's got a sword and his axe. And then we have the second one. Focus, there we go. This guy, he's got more of a basic top that could even be sort of like a leather top held together with a bit of gold braiding or gold chain. Kind of shows his status as like an elite warrior. And he's got his sword, and he's got this sort of crisscross pattern. Again, a similar sort of uniformity to the first guy. And he is actually wearing a basic pair of shoes, where the first one was wearing shoes as well, actually. Get a lot of Irish that aren't wearing shoes. So that is the second one. Third one, crazy looking, with his almost mohawk style haircut. He's got a short sword there. He's got this red sort of crisscross pattern, nice blue cloak. This guy's probably the leader of the unit, I'd say. And these sort of dark green trousers and some sort of like low boots. And of course his hulking great axe, ready to cleave anything in two with that. And the final one of the Hearth Guard unit, which is actually female. The Irish were great believers in everyone fighting equally, so there are a lot of Irish units that had women fighting with them. They were generally more of the sort of Levy units, but you did kind of I've kind of mixed some into my sort of warrior units rather than my Levy units. So here we have this nice female Hearth Guard. I doubt she would be. I suppose she could be. Maybe like a daughter of the warlord or a daughter of one of the other sort of nobles. And this particular sort of weapon style is kind of a little bit on the sort of suicidal side, because you actually lose a point of armour, but gain an extra attack dice from using these heavy axes, because you're basically lowering your defences to do an all-out attack. But a very cool figure, and I didn't realise that she was female until I actually had the figure in hand and started painting her. So you never really take that much notice of a figure when it's unpainted. You can see she's going barefoot, running across the bogland. So that is the first unit of my Irish Hearth Guard, and they have got, I believe they're called Great Dane Axes. Kind of cool. It's the first unit that I used with those axes. You can actually, the Vikings have options for using those as well. So next up we have a unit of Hearth Guard that come from the starter box set, apart from one figure. I believe that is it for Hearth Guard. Oh no, it's not. I've got one more unit actually. I'll get them both out. So we have 2 more units of Hearth Guard, which brings the number of Hearth Guard for the Irish to 3 units, with the possibility of 4 if you have the Curaid. So let's start with the closer in unit. Now these guys I've used shield transfers on, and this guy, they all came out really good actually. I love the sort of the way the sort of patterns came out in the end. And all these guys, you can see he's got his chainmail top, and he's using a hand axe. He's got his nice design on his shield. I tend to buy 1 pack of shield transfers per unit I do. I think the Anglo Saxons were the only unit that I didn't actually buy shield designs for. And I tend to use them on Hearth Guard. So here we have the second one. Again, he's got the shield transfer, and this guy is just wearing a helmet. He's not got any other armour on apart from his shield. He's got his sword, he's got javelin of course, and he's got his cape. So this guy could possibly be the leader of this particular little unit, although there is a second guy with a cape which I think probably would more suit to be the leader because he's actually got chainmail as well. So this guy's probably the leader, and he's got like a jewelled cape pin as well. So again we have a shield transfer, got a nice green cape, hand axe, sword of course just underneath the cape there. Blue undershirt, and sort of more standard sort of corky brown type trousers. Pretty cool figure. He is a gripping beast. I think all these guys are actually, apart from the ones with the Dane axes. And here we have the 4th one of the last guy of this particular unit, and he has another shield design transfer as well. And this guy has a heavy leather jerkin on, or well, it's a little bit more than a jerkin. It's kind of like a complete body shirt. I kind of you know, it's he's also got it on the arms as well. And you can just see his decorated undershirt underneath that. Pretty cool. Hand axe again. And the second unit, let's go for the leader first. These guys again have got some sort of tartan going on. This guy, the veteran, with a scar above his eye, or going across his eye, and he's got this sort of tartan pattern going on, and and sort of like heavy leather armour underneath it, the same sort of leather armour as the guy previous to him had. And again, the shield transfer there. Really cool looking. And the second guy, this guy again is gripping based, shield transfer, thrusting with the sword. It's got no armour other than that. It's got this nice sort of tartan pattern going on again, or crisscross pattern. Check it, yeah, crisscross. It's kind of pretty cool. No shoes. And the third, another gripping beast. The Irish set for the starter set, which was under £30. You get 4 points. You get a unit of warriors, 2 units of Hearth Guard, and a dog handler and his pack of dogs. And so here we have tartan on this guy. Came out really cool. And again, he's got the shield transfer. And again, he's wearing very little armour, just a helm. But he has got a sword. Pretty cool. And finally, we have another female. This particular figure is actually a warlord figure, and I believe it's from their Celts. It's a female Celt, which are obviously more or less the same type of people. The Celts and the Celts, sort of Scotland, Ireland, going over into Europe, and they kind of, obviously they resemble the same sort of clothing, and they did produce this line of females, which trying to hunt down and try and find sort of female figures for your Irish is actually quite hard. And Warlord was the one company that I did find that produced a pack, so I basically got one pack and mixed this particular one, because she's armed with a sort of a buckling shield and sword. I decided to make a Hearth Guard because the warriors tend to be armed with javelins. So she actually turned out to be quite a cool figure, perfect to be a Hearth Guard. And she's got 0 armour apart from her buckler shield and her sword. She's obviously highly agile. So that is the all the Hearth Guard done for the Irish. And next up, we'll start on the. We'll go with the Levy again, because I've started with the Levies in the previous. I'm actually thinking about it. We did actually forget a unit of Hearth Guard. We got a unit of mounted Hearth Guard here, which I totally forgot about. These guys again can be used if your warlord is mounted, and of course they give me an extra point that I can use to perhaps even boost it up to a 12-point army if I decide to play a battle that big. And basically these again count as the I basically painted all my horses at the same time, and they took ages to do, and I think they came out really cool. Here's a nice example. I love the pose of this horse, and I love his face actually. He came out really cool. He's got the pink nostrils and sort of like pink lips, and again just a sort of simple horse colours. He's just a sort of a dark brown horse with bit of white stippling on his nose, and a couple of white feet, of which go into his hoof. Because I noticed that you get a lot of horses that have those sort of patches on their feet sometimes have actual lighter coloured hooves as well, even though the rest of his hooves might be sort of dark browny black. And the figure himself is pretty cool. He's got his chainmail. There's not a lot of room for doing the sort of crisscross pattern, so I gave him like a different style of pattern on his undershirt there. And he's got the Hearth guard stylized motif, the same as the warlord, on his back of his shield. Very cool. Next up, we've got another guy. This guy is particularly well armoured. He's got his helm with the nose protection, and he's got a chainmail top. And he's holding a bunch of javelin. And he's got a sword, of course. No shield on this guy. I did perhaps think about attaching one just to his back of the horse here, but I haven't got around to doing that yet. I probably won't, to tell the truth, because it'll just be something to sort of knock off. But yeah, again, the horse came out really well. I love the way the horses came out on these guys, and he's kind of crossing shrubland, and he's got again kind of a simple design on his undershirt, but one that a normal peasant wouldn't have. And he's got a little bit of fluff there. There we go. So that's the second mounted Hearth guard. And the third one. Got a grey horse this time. Again, it came out really cool. And again, he's got the shield of the warlord. And this guy is perhaps maybe not the leader, but certainly maybe second in command of the unit. And he has his helm and his chainmail, and he's pretty cool. And now the final mounted Hearth guard. And now this guy's actually got a shield transfer. And he's got this nice sort of blue-grey undershirt this time. And he also is donning a helm and a chainmail. And he's kind of got a sort of a cork brownie type horse. Very cool. So that is the mounted Hearth guard, which I kind of forgot about. So next up, we will go for, just put them all in a box here. Let's get the Hearth guard out next. Again, the Hearth guard have been based onto one of these 12-man stands, and these guys are gripping beast. And they are very cool. They basically have nothing but javelins. They've haven't even got shields. They have absolutely no armour. The leader there with his cape, red cape, because there are a few with capes. And these guys would be sort of the peasantry that are just, they're not even sort of professionally trained, they're just literally people that come to the aid of their warlord when there's a trespassing army or an army threatening them. And these guys, there's quite a few sort of duplicates throughout this particular unit. Like I say, the gripping beast, but they're kind of cool. One of the things I did for these guys was I trimmed the spears down to make them all shorter, because I thought the sort of the actual size of the spear standard is actually quite long, and with the amount of times you catch the spears and knock them out of their hands, I decided to just try an experiment. Assuming javelins are generally a little shorter than a spear, because obviously they're designed to throw. That I would clip them all down to various sizes, and that certainly helps keep them a little bit more protected from banging the spears out of their hands all the times. And you can see that I used all sorts of colours to make these guys look individual, and different hair colours and stuff. Came out really cool, and they certainly look good on the 12-man base. So I only have one unit of Levy in my Irish, and again my Irish are warrior heavy. We have 3 units of warriors, and we'll just get those guys out one by one and get them all out. So we have 1, we have 2nd, and 3rd. So let's start with this particular unit. So again, on these bases, the sort of carrying bases, and we've got some of the warlord female miniatures mixed in with these guys. These are gripping beast with just the addition of the 3 warlord figures in there. And then this particular hardcore looking female here, who I nickname the Butcheress. Her original pose, she was holding a severed head, which I didn't particularly like. So I basically, using a pair of duck-billed pliers, basically unbent her arm and put it into a new pose, and then stuck a shield on it. And I think that particular pose looks better than the one holding the severed head, because as bloodthirsty as my Irish are, they're not really Celts, so they don't really go in for running around painted blue and sticking heads on spikes and stuff. These guys prefer to just hack and slay their enemies and then have a feast, rather than go around decorating their walls with severed heads or whatever, like the sort of ancient Celts. So as we can see, we've got lots of again a few duplicates thrown in there. Gripping Beast are unfortunately the masters of having either duplicated positions with different heads, or the same figure appearing in your units. I did actually buy 2 units of warriors to add to my army, and they came from the same sort of group of sort of core miniatures, but you can see that the female ones, which are really quite cool, came out. They've got this one here holding a javelin, and this one here uncharacteristically holding a sword, but she still kind of fits in. I've given her that nice sort of red tartan pattern on her dress. She's got this nice sort of the yellow-green pattern, and got some of the stripy trousers in there, and they're all basically no one's really sort of apart from using perhaps the same sort of colours as some of the other figures, that they're not really uniformed at all. She's got the sort of green overall with sort of some snakes, snake design running down the arms, and sort of like some patterns on her dress rather than sort of a crisscross pattern. But yeah, these guys come out really cool. So that's the first unit of warriors. And the second unit. Here, so we have another female figure here. For the shield designs, obviously that they can get quite sort of complicated, the Irish shield design, so a lot of guys have got these simplistic crosses or just bare shields. With you get a few of these odd swirly patterns, and there's sort of almost like a sort of like a standard sort of Viking-y type shield there. But I think I like the way their shields turned out in the end. Again, I was kind of a little worried about it before I started the army. And the shield transfers are cool, but they're very expensive. So I couldn't really afford more than just one pack. So I decided to go with this sort of fair few guys with just plain shields, and I think it worked out pretty cool. You've got one guy here with some tartan. He's probably the warrior leader, and he's got almost like the same sort of design as the warlord. But everyone else has got completely different shield designs apart from this particular guy here. Pretty cool, intimidating. So that's the second unit of warriors. And the third unit, again we've got a couple of females here. I believe the warlord pack was 5 or 6 miniatures, so it's pretty good value. I do like those figures, but I only got the one pack because I didn't really want multiples. And then the rest of the guys, I've got another female there. I did actually give her a shield, she didn't come with one. And again, we've got all sorts of variety of shield colours. I've got one kind of my own pattern there, which came out okay, and a lot of shield damage. You can see this on her. She's actually got quite a chunk taken out the bottom of the shield there. Done lots of fighting, but obviously can't really afford to buy a new shield, so she has to basically patch up the one she's got. And you see a lot of guys with various damage on their shields, but she's probably got the worst damage on her shield. But again, yeah, they look really cool, and all their sort of individualistic colours. And there we have one guy with the sort of clan green and yellow crisscrosses. So that is the 3 units of normal warriors for my Irish. And now the final unit, which are the dog handlers, the dog handler and his pack. These are unique to the Irish clan, and they're really quite cool miniatures. So here we have the dog handler, and you can see that he's wearing sort of like a long cape, and decided to make that cape sort of I can't remember the actual colour that I used, but it's kind of like sort of a boggy green, and I thought that would be good camouflage, sort of like almost like a sort of a type of camouflage for him when he goes hunting or whatever. And just underneath that you can kind of just see hints of his sort of clan yellow and green crisscrossed undershirt there. And then we've got the dogs. They're all kind of like wolfhoundy type dogs, and you can see them in all their various running poses. And then this particular one, this odd black and white one here, was done in honour of one of my friend's dogs, who's called Jago. and I decided to just do one in black with white patches to sort of resemble him with his red collar. I just added a little bit of character to my dog, to the dogs. But yeah, they're quite cool. Quite a cool looking unit. I like them a lot, and I love the way they turned out when they're all together in this pack, in this space. Really cool. So that is the end of this particular battle report, and catch you next time for, I'll probably do my Saga, my unpainted warbands next, to give you a taster of those, to see, you know, the sort of what a 10-point army looks like unpainted. So until next time, this is a long video, 40 minutes. Catch you later.